Hey, everybody. I'm Andres,
I'm Scott.
And I'm Abe.
and this is Between Two Stands, a classical musicians podcast about classical music.
That is the
And
most successful. That's the most successful introduction we've ever done.
we didn't
I
even laugh
think.
once.
Save the
I think it's
best for
because we have a
last,
good,
right?
no one could see, but we have a good luck charm. We have little Andrew, Abe's son, new son here, and he kept us straight.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. He's
Someone
giving
did
us
not
the.
want to go to sleep for me to be able to make this recording. So I'm
I like
holding him.
it. He's like our little
Yeah.
mascot.
Yeah.
Well, we have a very exciting interview today. Very, very cool soloist that's coming up next year. But and this is our last episode of the season. It's kind of sad. It's kind of gone by pretty quick.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna miss you too so much.
Oh, I'm so done with it too. Like, if you listeners, if you knew what I had to go through working with these two, I mean,
Yeah, you're right. We need a break from each other.
Listeners,
for all
I feel
of us.
like that's so optimistic.
Listener.
Listener, whoever you are, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We're doing this for ourselves.
But
Yeah, you have to renew, everyone, listener or plus, please renew your subscriptions for next year. We got our subscriptions on scale for next season.
DSO.org.
DSO.org. And the person we're interviewing, María Dueñas, is joining us in about a year from now, next season. Super, super cool girl. She's like, it was really cool to talk to her about just like, music and also like her headspace. She just seemed like very, with it and very like, organized, for that age. I mean, when I was
Right.
19, I was just figuring things out,
well, and talk
Right,
about a
and she's
rising
also
star.
still in school.
Yeah, still in school, just very talented at many things,
But has already
so it's
performed in Pittsburgh and like all over the place. Won
all over LA,
competitions. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's really like she's an incredible person.
I'm really, I feel fortunate that we get to kind of have insight, and we get to meet these people before they come. I mean, there would have been no way that we would have known that stuff before,
Right.
That's the advantage of being a podcast host.
That's right.
Exactly.
And the advantage of listening to us. Hey, how'd you laugh?
Oh,
Well, you guys enjoy this interview. It's really cool, and I think you guys will enjoy it a lot. Welcome, María Dueñas. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
yeah, it's really great to have you. What we always ask the same first question to all of our guests, and that question is, what is on your stand? So what are you working on?
Oh, I'm always working on many different pieces, actually. It's kind of a challenge for me, like to focus on very different sort of pieces from different backgrounds or like composers. And so it's very, very interesting. I just got back from Los Angeles where I premiered a new violin concerto written for me. So that has been very exciting, getting to know modern music. But I'm also learning or like relearning Tchaikovsky. I have to play Shostakovich as well. So as I said, many different styles.
Wow, juggling a lot of different things.
So just to give our audience an idea of like in one season right now, or maybe next season, how many different concertos are you playing?
Well, a few of them, but I actually like to play them very well rather than maybe play more different concertos. So I just like also focusing on a concerto maybe for a month, and then I play that concerto in that month. So that's for me very important to really maintain the quality of what I'm playing.
Of course.
But no, I have to play Lalo now. Then I will do Dvorak as well. So I mean, a lot of things to look forward to actually.
So you said that there was a concerto written for you. So is there like
a lot of collaboration between you and the composer? I mean, where is the composer? Are they in the States?
So it's a Mexican composer.
Okay.
And yeah, it's actually really great because you get the chance to actually talk to her, which can't be made with Beethoven, for example.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
it was
That's hard.
a process, actually. Yeah, it was a very interesting process for both of us because I would suggest maybe to change some things or just some tempos as well. So yeah, it's kind of it's like writing the piece from two different perspectives actually. So yeah, it's a very interesting process, which I think it's also very important for musicians, for artists nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that process of working with the composer and having those suggestions might change the way you would approach some of the more classic pieces?
Yeah, well, it could be. I mean, I think you learn to be more open-minded about things, and then that things can change because, of course, she wrote the piece thinking about one thing, but maybe when I played, I feel another thing. So yeah, that's for me always very interesting. Also, when coming in contact with a new conductor or a new orchestra, just same piece can have so many different perspectives and ideas. So yeah, for sure, that's a very rich process, I think. Yeah.
So I'm very curious. So you're from Granada. You're living in Vienna. You just said you traveled to Los Angeles. I just want to know, like, can you give us like a day in a life of María Dueñas? Like just like tell us like what, you know, like or maybe not a day. Just tell us like a typical month, what a month looks like for you. You know, like what's going on.
30 days in the life.
30 days. Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is, I'm living in Vienna and I'm just also studying, like doing my career at university, just like a normal student. So I have to combine like playing concerts with actually going every day to university and having lots of different things. I mean, not just playing the violin, but I also have chamber music, of course, and I have even conducting. I have to conduct. So yeah, there are many things, and yeah, that's very exciting for me because I have like this two different lifestyles, let's say. But I always like to also find time for myself, for going out. I recently also discovered my passion for dancing here in Vienna.
Oh, whoa. What kind?
Dances like waltz or
foxtrot.
Yeah, because there are these very typical balls in Vienna. So yeah, I mean, I like to have a very mixed kind of lifestyle. Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, like it's, you know, we were trying to see, like, you know, it's cool to hear that you have like, you know, that the university like trajectory, but you still have this like kind of rock star lifestyle too, you know. That's very cool. So like would you say you had like a pretty typical you know, childhood growing up? And I mean, was it, I'm sure it was full of violin, of course, but were you able to, you know, like when you were in school, were you able to, you know, had to go to normal school, I guess, and like, you know, focus on sports or anything else like that, or was it mostly violin?
No, actually, yeah. The good thing about my childhood was that I was able to decide for myself that I wanted to play the violin. So yeah, because my parents are not musicians, so it was just very natural and very instinctive for me. So yeah, I think that's why I never felt pushed or so. It just, I just did everything as I wanted to. And yeah, I had a very normal childhood. Of course, I went to school and I also took swimming lessons. Yeah, I'm a very active kind of person. So yeah, I mean, I've always been able to combine everything, not just the music, not just violin, but of course other things. That's very important to me.
When you were starting, what did you feel like drew you to the violin? Was it the music itself you heard and you wanted to replicate, or was it like the sensation of playing and the way that you practice and learn the skill, or a mixture of all the above? Can you pinpoint it?
Yeah, it was a mixture actually, because my parents are not musicians, but we always listen to classical music at home. So I kind of grew up listening to Orchestra, to Menuhin, so the most historical violin concertos ever written. So yeah, I think that was very important for me to discover my passion for music. But I also went to lots of concerts in Granada, in Spain. So yeah, I guess, yeah, the thing is, when I went to the concerts, I really thought, oh, that's what I want to do when I'm older. So yeah, it was just very intuitive.
So the love for those very standard violin concertos may have sparked part of it, at least from the beginning.
Definitely.
Oh, that's very cool.
So I read that you're a composer as well, right? Like you compose.
Yeah, well, yes, I could say so. I mean, I started with just cadenzas for violin concertos.
Oh.
But yeah, later, as I started playing the piano a little bit, I also composed a little piece for piano. Yeah, and I mean, I love composing. I mean, I never had lessons, but yeah, who knows? Maybe something comes out in the future.
So who's your favorite composer, like maybe to listen to, and then what about your favorite composer to play, or if they're the same, that works too.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
Yeah, I know there's probably you probably go through phases. Like when people ask me that, like it could be someone one day and then the next day it's someone else. You kind of go through different phases. But what is it right now for you?
Yeah, I think it's that way for me as well. I mean, it also really depends on what I'm playing in the moment. But I would say one composer that definitely is always on my list is Bach. Because yeah, I feel like he's something so different from everyone else, and I really admire his work so much. I mean, I read recently about Bach's Chaconne for violin, and I wrote kind of an article about that because it was just so interesting, like the background behind it. So yeah, I would say that Bach is definitely my number one, but of course it always changes. I mean, yeah, today could be Lalo or Tchaikovsky, and tomorrow, yeah, I don't know, Rachmaninoff. Yeah.
Wait, can you tell us a little bit about that article? Like what about the Bach Chaconne that made it interesting?
Yeah, so for me, the main thing I wanted to explore was the history behind the piece, because of course, every composer has an idea or kind of a background before or when composing a piece, but for me, like, Bach has this little magic behind. So yeah, I just wanted to know what inspired him to compose the Chaconne, which is such an incredible piece.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah, I actually read a lot of things, and it was very interesting because he inspired himself through religion a lot, and then yeah, there are like lots of hidden numbers in the score, which have to do with dates, with his death also. And yeah, so that's very important to me, like reading about composers' lives before playing a piece. And yeah, that was definitely very, very inspiring, very interesting about learning about that. Yeah.
Do you play? I mean, I know a lot of string players who sort of view Bach as sort of a religious experience, both playing and listening to. And for me, I try and play some of the cello suites when I have time now. With two kids, it's a little difficult. But I try and play Bach every day. And is that something that you do as well?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was a time when I would also play every day, but at night, because I don't know, it has something pure, like the silence. I really do. Yeah, it's like I connect the night with Bach's music somehow. Yeah, it was very calming and very inspiring. But I think that's something one should do, like play Bach every day. I think that's very, very clever.
You had mentioned that you were composing your own cadenzas, and that's how like your composition started. In that process, how do I put this? Is your goal to compose a cadenza more in the style of the composer to bring out the piece itself, or is it to bring out your own compositional voice in a way that complements the piece?
Well, I would say it's a mixture, because of course I think when a composer gives that freedom of composing your own cadenza, I think you should take it, of course, just to show your personal view on the piece. But of course, on the other hand, it's very important to do it in the composer style. So yeah, I always analyze first the themes that are present in the concerto, and then I just like write myself from that theme. But yeah, I do not create like something new. But yeah, it's just a very creative process for me, because I think, yeah, I always like to take advantage of that possibility of writing your own cadenza.
Absolutely.
So we were talking about how you have 3 very incredible old instruments that are on loan to you, and just we were curious about that process, and like, you know, do you keep them at your house? Like do you travel with them? Like, you know, how does that work? And like yeah, how do you get these instruments to these concerts, and how do you deal with that?
Well, it's a little bit frightening, of course.
Yeah.
But it's also very interesting. I think for a musician, it's crucial to have an instrument which you can give everything you can. I mean, you can show your emotions, you can really like express yourself at the best. So yeah, there are 3 very different violins, and depending on what I'm playing, or in which, if I'm playing chamber music, then I prefer to play one violin. If I'm playing, I don't know, like Shostakovich concerto, then that violin maybe doesn't suit so well. So yeah, I would say like each violin has a different sound, and that's, for me, it was a very important process, because I also learned how to play myself through the violin. So yeah, definitely, yeah.
But can you describe, like, if you can describe like the differences between the violins in terms of sound or feel, like why do they sound different? Because, like, you know, for a maybe a non-musician, they kind of look the same, but like what is different about them?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, if you, and along those lines, like the process for choosing them or how they came to you is probably heavily involved in the differences that you see. So if you can tie that in, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, the first good violin I also had, no, again. Yeah, the first violin I had was the Galliano, Niccolo Galliano. So it was a very difficult violin at the beginning, because I couldn't really find the voice inside of it. So it took me quite a long time to actually understand the violin, but I've been playing it for, I would say, 9 years now. And it's actually the violin I feel most identified with, because of course I have been growing with the violin, and I've been just making it my own. So yeah, it has a very, I would say, delicate sound, but also very warm colors, which on the other hand, the Strat, for example, it's more dark. So it has a deeper sound and not so bright colors. So yeah, it really depends on the piece, because of course, for Shostakovich, for example, the Strat or the Jazz works very well, while the Galliano works very well for Mozart or something more silver. So that's basically the difference.
Oh, that's really cool. I like how you use like colors with that, you know, like it helps visualize it. And yeah, are you the only one playing those violins, or do other people
No, right now I'm the only one playing, which is an amazing feeling.
Yeah. We interviewed our cellist and violist in our orchestra. They're playing Don Quixote this week, and they were just saying it's really cool that, like, in the history of the violin, in its whole life, like, you know, they're part of that history. You know, they played it, you know, and you know, there's obviously many people who played before and people playing after, but I just thought that was a cool you know, thing to think about, is that they're part of that history, you know, and it sounds like you're part of 3 different histories with different violins. That's very, very cool.
That's amazing.
Well, along those lines, are there any interesting stories about any of the instruments that are worth sharing?
Like, did someone steal it or something?
I mean, it's not very funny, but the thing is, for example, with the Galliano, I've played most of the competitions I've won so far, and I would say by most of them I always broke a string, but that only happened with the Galliano. And also, as I played last week in Los Angeles, that happened as well. So I don't know, I think the violin can kind of tries to tell me something.
You say it's like, yeah, go easy on me, go easy on me.
Yeah.
Wait,
you know,
so what do you?
Something that's, sorry, I just want to follow up on the breaking of the string. So you're performing with orchestra, right? I think this has never come up in our show before. So you break a string. You're playing a concerto with an orchestra. What happens?
So I just stopped. I went backstage to my room and I changed it. And the whole jury, I mean, at the competition, the whole jury was just waiting for me to come back to the stage. So I just took my time, just change the string and just come back. And yeah, I mean, I just look at the conductor and we just start again, or we continue. Yeah, it depends.
Wait, so it wasn't during a concert, it was during a competition?
Most of the times during a competition, but last week it was a rehearsal, actually.
Oh, rehearsal. Okay, that's good.
Not at the concert, no.
I mean, because you know, I've heard stories about, like, you know, Yitzhak Perlman, a string breaking, and he has to play it on like 3 strings, and you know, like did you ever have to do anything like that, or do you just stop it?
I just stopped. I think it would have been impossible to just play on 3 strings.
You should just, if that happens in a concert, just go to the last chair violinist and be like, yo, give me your violin now. You know,
but the problem is we weren't at the end of the concerto or even at the end of a movement. It was like always in the middle. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't play like for 10 minutes with another violin.
Wow. Yeah.
So a lot of times, if you switch violins with the concertmaster as an example, that has more to do with where you are in the piece than...
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because of course it's very risky to play something. For example, it happened as I was playing Paganini concerto. It would be just pretty impossible to play on a different violin because it's so challenging technically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely just take the violin.
Just say, hold on, time out.
I feel like you can do Paganini on 3 strings. That's fine, right?
Nice. Wow. I wonder what it is about the Galliano that, like, it's like it gets tired or something. You know, it's just like,
I don't know, but I still love him. I mean, I understand.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. With those competitions, and maybe just as a soloist in general, like what were you feeling when, like, when the string breaks, you have to go and extend this time that you're sort of, you know, everybody's waiting to hear you, and in this very high pressure situation, like, how does, you know, you said I was very calm. I went to the room, took my time, and like made sure that everything was okay. But how does that situation feel? And maybe for some perspective, how long do you prepare for a competition?
Well, it takes a lot of time because I think it's not just the physical part, like, of course, preparing the whole repertoire, but I would also say it's a psychological part. I think for a competition, you have to be very psychological also prepared because, of course, you just have to play such a huge repertoire in a short time, actually, and you have to learn so many different pieces. So yeah, for me it has always been about the adrenaline. I'm a very competitive person, actually, and I really love this pressure of just giving my best. And yeah, that has always been a very big motivation for just learning new pieces, new repertoire, and yeah, just putting myself under pressure. I mean, I think that's maybe important also for the life of an artist, because it's not the same playing a concert and a competition. It's it's totally different worlds.
So what you're saying is you're going to be a professional foxtrot and waltzer soon, right? Like that's like where you're headed. But so along those lines, along the psychological aspect of this, like, how do you some would look at this, like you said, like with that, this is a lot of pressure. You're doing competitions. You're always at the front of the stage. You're doing solos all the time. Do you look at that as pressure, or do you look at that like, I mean, how do you deal with that mentally? How do you get through that?
Yeah, no, for me, it's a motivation actually, because when you play a competition, you have to be very, how do you say, like so well prepared that if anything happens, you can still have a chance. While at a concert, of course, people go to listen to you, they buy tickets to listen to you, but at a competition, that's not the case. So yeah, you have to have something that puts you above the other ones, I think. So yeah, that's for me. I mean, it's not pressure, it's just another perspective which you don't have while playing a concert.
So do you do anything to prepare for that pressure in terms of like, it's hard to like, put yourself in that moment until you're there, but like, do you prepare for the the intense, judging and all that beforehand, or do you just, do you play in front of your friends, your family, like, on the street?
No, well, the thing is, when I played competitions, I didn't really think about the jury actually, because I think you just have to play yourself, and if you do that, then I think you have a chance. But yeah, for me, it was so important to really prepare myself 100%. So to really know I'm really prepared to play this competition, and I can do it. So I think knowing that you're fully prepared, you have to be very calm, I think. So that's for me. Also, of course, also when playing concerts, I'm very calm when I'm really well prepared, and that's why I'm always very well prepared. That's like my goal, actually. Yeah,
that's amazing.
So Maria, you're coming to Detroit next season. This is your first time to Detroit, right?
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. You're playing Lalo Symphony Español with us next season. So can you tell us a little bit about the piece and, what you look forward to with it, or what maybe some of our listeners should listen for, or is there anything you want to tell us?
Yes, well, it's a piece I feel very identified with, of course, because I mean, it has so much Spanish flavor, and it was also one of the first like big orchestral concertos I learned. Actually, I learned it at a very young age, and it has been a piece I've played a lot. So yeah, for me, it's very interesting to see how the piece evolves. Every time I play it, I always find something different, some different. I always try to find new things. Each time I play a piece on a concert, or every piece, of course. So yeah, I think we are really going to enjoy it, because of course it's a piece which has so many different characters in it. It has 5 movements, which also isn't so typical for a violin concerto. And therefore there are so many different moods, and for me also it's like portraying a life of a composer or of an artist, I think. So you really can show everything possible on the violin, actually.
Is there a specific thing that you you mentioned how you're always discovering something new, so is there like I mean, I know it's hard to identify like one point of music. It's like, whoa, about 3 minutes in or whatever. But is there a specific moment that you can remember where you had a revelation on, that's how I want this to go, or I never thought of doing it this way for the Lalo?
Well, actually, I change pretty much every bar, so it's funny, but Yeah, I really changed. Like, I love changing like bows and fingers. Yeah, because maybe I discover different colors if I play on the G string, for example. So yeah, I would say I do change a lot before every concert, also like a day before after the rehearsal. So
Wow.
that's crazy, but I think that's important to have also the ability to improvise, because of course I've played so many fingers on that same part that I'm able to maybe improvise in the concert. Yeah, it depends how I'm feeling.
Well,
But
that might
also, of
also
course,
add to the excitement of listening to it when there's that extra level of something new.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
one thing that Scott was really curious about before we started
Oh, yeah.
talking to you is, how do you manage the sort of push and pull between what you'd like musically and what maybe the conductor might like musically? And has that changed over time, or
Well, I would say that's one of the things I like always look forward to, because for me it's so interesting to see another idea or another perspective on a same piece. And yeah, I always welcome it. Like, for me it's really, yeah, maybe it is better that way. So for me that's like a process also. It's kind of like composing a new piece or a modern piece. Yeah, so that's interesting, like coming to a compromise. That's for me also like a very interesting process always.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a good way of putting it.
I would be curious to hear if you ever just put your foot down and say no, I want it to go this way.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I am very
Oh, you're
open
too
minded,
nice.
and I
Okay.
always like, I really enjoy different ideas. I do, really.
But
Well,
that's
Maria,
a good way to go about it.
we can't wait to have you here, you know, and hopefully, you know, show you around Detroit, and you know, can't wait to hear you play. It's gonna be really, really fun. Thank you so much for joining us today.
We also have a ballroom dancer in our orchestra. We'll have to introduce.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
We do. Yeah.
Well, don't expect too much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. See you real soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Looking forward.
Well, thank you, Maria. That was a great interview. We're really excited to
She's
work with her
awesome.
next season. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really great. So as far as the summer goes, you know, we've got our summer events in Sosnick. So go to dso.org oh, there's Andrew making some noise. Yeah. dso.org to check out the event schedule for Sosnick. And then we also have our gala on June 18th, featuring Hilary Hahn and our music director, Yadar Binyamini. On June 29th, Disney in concert at Orchestra Hall. And July 10th, we've got Harry Potter at Meadowbrook, the music at Harry Potter at Meadowbrook. And what's the big holiday in July, Andres?
Something, I don't know, a lot of fireworks. I always forget the name of it, but for now, let's just call it 4th of July.
Oh, okay. And we have our 4th of July, our Independence Day concerts at Greenfield Village. So go to dso.org to check out those tickets, and we hope to see you all there.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And it sounds like your new son, Andrew, is looking forward to it also.
Yeah, very much. All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.